Welcome to the Shootin' Show. Stand by for shots fired.
Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, and welcome again to this week's Shootin' Show. We have a great show for you today. We have some features I think you're really going to enjoy. Let me remind you, please, if you want to help our project, if you want to help what we do as the Shootin' Show, please call your local radio station and ask them to play our new song, Down to You and Me. Now, this CD is already at most of the radio stations, certainly the country stations in the United States. So please, if they will play our song, every time they do, it gets the Shootin' Show a little bit of publicity. It helps our project, certainly. Now, we will be talking about the video a little later on in the show. We'll give you the TNN and CMT numbers a little later. But we're so glad to be with you today. We think we have another great show for you. So let's let another Shootin' Show begin. Now, friends, the gun that we, in fact, opened the show with today and we were shooting the steel plates with just a few minutes ago is none other than the Benelli M1 Super 90. And this, of course, is in the riot gun configuration. They make these in, the Super 90 in sporting models. This is more, would be an excellent competition gun, a tremendous home defense gun, a good gun for military or law enforcement people. In fact, a lot of them are using these guns today. It has a 6-shot underbarrel magazine, and this particular gun is has really made some inroads into the defensive shotgun ranks in the last several years. They've proven to be among the most reliable semi-automatic shotguns that have ever been built. In fact, these guns are have the reputation of being the fastest semi-automatic that money can buy. And believe me, it is quick. We have run some tests. We'll show you in just a few minutes just what it will do with our Pro timer there. But anyway, this gun has the ghost ring sights, a ring on the back, and a post front sight with a white dot. It is very easy, one, to acquire for rapid shooting. It's good for slugs as well as for anything else you might want to use it with. Now, Jeff Cooper has popularized the term ghost ring sight because the reason they call it a ghost ring, when you look in the back, it's an aperture and you just sort of see the rear sight. What you in fact see is clearly focused on the front sight, and it looks just like what it says, a ghost ring, but your eye very quickly centers your front sight within that ring. Is something that you really do without even thinking about. They really do work well. This particular gun has a pistol grip stock, and of course it just depends on what you like. Some people prefer the straight stock, or others may like the pistol grip. Now, one reason I like the pistol grip stock, and my main reason certainly, is when I'm on a security job, and we have these things to do with our company from time to time. You can have a flashlight in this hand, and you can hook the end of the stock up under your arm and grasp it by the pistol grip and retain control of the shotgun. So you can use your light and you can point the gun and, in fact, firing it if you need to. Now, friends, you'll probably notice that I'm wearing my past recoil pad because I tell you what, it's just no fun to get kicked anytime, and we shoot these guns so much out here. And you would not believe just the difference that the past recoil pad makes on your shoulder. It really does soak up the recoil of these shotguns. Some people would think that this being a recoil-operated gun, the bolt rotates and comes back into a spring in the action. That's what makes the gun cycle, is recoil. But it really doesn't kick that bad. Some people would think it might, but it really doesn't. We haven't found it to be objectionable at all. To me, all 12-gauge shotguns kick. I don't care what they are, but this one doesn't seem to be any worse than the rest. And of course, this past recoil pad really does take the sting out of it. It is, for someone who shoots a shotgun or any large caliber rifle or whatever a lot, you really do need to get one of these past recoil pads. Anyway, you load the Benelli. Like most other magazine-fed shotguns, you put them into the magazine. And on the side you have a little button here. It's got a little red dot, and what it does, it releases a shell from the magazine. Then you get a shell on the carrier, then you pull the bolt handle back, and you know me, let it go, and of course our safety is applied, and that's how you load the chamber on the gun. And if you want to, you can top up the magazine with ever how many shells you want after one is in the chamber. So these are extremely reliable guns. One of the things that I have learned about these guns, a lot of hunters that go down to South America that do a lot of bird hunting where they may shoot literally cases of ammunition, these Benellis are favorites of those hunters because they just don't require much maintenance. It seems like they function after they get dirty a lot longer than a lot of other shotgun types. Well, to just give you an idea of how fast these guns work, let's take our timer and we're going to compare this gun to one of my favorite shotguns, which is a Remington 870. And let's see just in fact how fast it does shoot. Now friends, let me remind you that these Benellis do have varying choke tubes. You can put in a full or modified or improved cylinder choke tube. It's very simple, just like on the shotguns that a lot of us are familiar with, and they really do work well. Well, let's take our pro timer here and our Remington 870 and step off out here a little way. Now, I like to think that I shoot a pump shotgun fairly well, or fairly fast for that matter. So let's shoot 5 shots with our Remington 870, and of course wearing that pass recoil pad. And we're not shooting birdshot here, we're shooting active arms, active shells with number 6 shot. This would be a good duck load or squirrel shot or whatever else. So this is not a lightweight load we're using. It's not number 8s or 9s or whatever else. This is a field load that a lot of us would use in actually hunting. So let's in fact just see. We have our timer on for random start. You know the drill. I'm going to punch the button. The timer will start me and I will shoot 5 shots as fast as I can with this pump shotgun. Let's see how long that it takes. Get my hearing protection in real good. Load our pump. All right, friends. So we'll go ahead. We'll start our timer. You know it's going to start me. And I'll start shooting as soon as I hear the button. So let's do that. Punch our timer, get in position. Well, that took me, including my reaction time, and we know our gun's empty. Of course, before it's over with, I was starting back just a little bit from recoil, but 2.09 seconds. Well, remember that number, 2.09 seconds. So let's see what our numbers were. We're going to punch the review. It took me 36 hundredths of a second to react from the time that I heard the buzzer to fire the first shot. So we're going to, the second shot, let's see. All right, the second shot was at 80 hundredths, so it took me about 44 hundredths between the first and the second shot. And reading as we go here, so 40, 42, 44 hundredths of a second per shot. Well, heck, if you divide 2.09 by 5, you're going to come up with, including my reaction time, a little better than 40 hundredths per shot. I had one there that was a little quicker somewhere. Okay, so we're going to call it roughly about 42 hundredths of a second. I'm sorry. That's right, 42 hundredths of a second. A little over, say 4/10 or a little over, between shots on a pump shotgun. All right, friends, that's about as fast as I can shoot. Now, some of you out there, of course, can probably shoot one of these faster. Some of you won't be quite as fast. But today, in our heat and my particular condition of perspiration, that's about as fast as I can shoot a pump shotgun. Remember that. We went from 2.09 seconds, 5 shots. All right, let's try the same drill. All right, friends, now we have our Benelli M1 Super 90, and we have 5 shells loaded in the magazine, and the chamber is loaded. And let's see, as compared to that little over 2 seconds for our Remington 870, let's see how fast I can shoot 5 shots from our Benelli. We'll go ahead. My hearing protection's in. Cap's in the right position. let's punch our timer. Get ready. Well, and of course our gun has told us it's empty. We have our slide, our bolt lock back. How about 1.21 seconds? So for 5 shots, including my reaction time. So let's review the first shot there. All right, the first shot came at 3,500, which is about like on our 870, but our time per shot, that one was 2,300. Of course, that's one of the great things about the Pro Timer. It'll tell you how long it took between each individual shot, and it's real easy to use. The instructions are clear on these. So let's see, we had 2,300 between the first and second shot, 2,100 between the second and third, 22, so about 2,000. So literally I can shoot this particular gun, the Benelli, a little quicker, a little over twice as fast as I can a pump shotgun. Now friends, in competition, in any kind of shooting game, that can really give you an edge. If you're a police officer or someone who wants a gun like this for home defense, with the proper ammunition, with the right shells, on any sort of recoil or gas operated gun, you've got to know that the shells that you have for your gun are powerful enough to cycle the action.
Awesome firepower. Precision rifle skills. That's what you'll find along with lots more in these 2 great new videos, Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. See an actual firepower demonstration of the latest Marine Corps weapons of the infantry, including the M220 Echo-Tow missile system, grenade launchers, mortars, and lots more. Plus the Marine Corps Silent Drill Team, an incredible display of precision rifle handling skills by the most respected and admired rifle squad in the world. 2 great new videos for one low price, just $19.95 through this special TV offer. Marine Corps Firepower and Marine Corps Silent Drill Team. 2 videos for the price of one. Call and order yours right now.
Call toll-free with your credit card ready, 1-800-942-8273. By ordering today, you'll receive this 32-page gun video catalog absolutely free. So order now, 1-800-942-8273. Call now.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
There's a movement in this country to surrender the Second Amendment.
Listen to this. There is no reason for anyone in this country, anyone except a police officer or a military person, to buy, to own, to have, to use a handgun.
And, still quoting, the only way to do that is to change the Constitution.
That's not some nobody. That's the president of NBC News.
You see, they want to repeal your constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Well, you can help stop it by joining the NRA.
For just $25, you'll get a year of great magazines and member benefits, and you'll be where all honest gun owners belong, in the NRA.
If you want to keep the rights your founding fathers entrusted to you,
The rights the Constitution guarantees to you.
The rights the NRA protects for you.
call now.
Friends, this Benelli M1 Super 90 is just an excellent gun. Our experience with it has just been terrific. It has been as reliable, I think, as a repeating shotgun can be. This is the type gun, though they're not inexpensive, this particular gun you'd probably want to keep for many, many years because they have the reputation for durability and just being an all-around fun gun. Heck, you can do anything in the world with it. These guns come with a plug. Even though it has an extended magazine, it comes with a plug to put it down in legal limits. Heck, you can use this gun for squirrel or duck hunting or whatever else. And of course, Benelli makes several other semi-automatic shotguns. And speaking of that, you know, this is a tremendous hunting gun. It's as good as a shotgun gets, really, for reliability and capability. But you know what, friends? We have those people that want to take these guns away from us. You know, I can't imagine if I had to face an armed gang, which a lot of people is happening to more and more in all sorts of areas in our country. We're facing people that are going to take what we've worked so hard for. We have people who are invading our home. Tell you what, friends, I can't think of a better weapon that I would face somebody if in a life-threatening situation than this Benelli shotgun. But because it has multiple shot capability, it's a semi-automatic, there are those anti-gun people who literally, they don't want to take these away. They're going to take them away if we don't stand up and call or write, especially if we write our congressman. Now, we're going to tell you how to get in touch with your congressman. We're going to give you the addresses. But friends, remember now, we have an anti-gun administration in the White House. We have a lot of these people that have made inroads in the Congress. And what we as gun owners have to do, first of all, you need to join the National Rifle Association because they will mail you notices about things that are going on, about letters that you may need to write to your legislators. They'll do that. They will send you these notices. But also, we have got to make a stand in our local community. When we have councilmen standing up saying, well, let's take the guns away, let's disarm the population. Well, friends, that's ridiculous because the only people they're going to disarm is going to be you and me, who are the law-abiding citizen. Heck, I don't want to break the law, and I'm sure that 99.9999% of our audience wouldn't even consider breaking the law. But you know what? We have a right, according to our Constitution, to defend ourselves and our home from wrongdoing. And friends, I tell you what, I enjoy shooting these guns. I enjoy shooting the 870 pump. It has an extended magazine, and that gun is on the list too, to be confiscated, to be taken away. Now, friends, handgun control and these lame-brain organizations out there who really don't have a clue or don't care what we think or how we live our lives, you know, friends, they're going to succeed if we don't stand up. That's why it's so important, please, to support the Shootin' Show. Join the NRA. Please tell your friends about our program because, friends, our message has got to get out there. I want my children and their children to enjoy the use of firearms. I want them to be able to defend themselves and their homes. And let me tell you what, as we've said many times before, these people are not at the window. Heck, they're climbing in. They're not at the door. They're climbing in literally into our lives, and they're going to take our guns away if we don't stand up, and we've got to stop them. We can do it, but friends, we don't have any time to spare. We've got to do it. Speaking of standing up, I think that's a good intro for our video this week. We hope you like it. We've had a tremendous response from it the past couple of weeks. People have been so nice to us. And you know, this video is about things that are going on and all around us, literally in our country with what's happening. Because, friends, it has come down to you and me.
I'm proud to be an American, thank God our country's strong. But some time ago, you know, it occurred to me, there's something going wrong. My granddad fought against tyranny, so we could all be free. I'm afraid, my friends, his fight has passed down to you and me, down to you and me. We got people telling us what to do, they don't even know our name. We're just a number on some little card, and I think that's a shame. If If George and Abe could see us now, bet they'd both agree this is not exactly what they had in mind. The land of liberty, sweet land of liberty. Oh, I love to hear my Harley run. I like being free to live out my dreams, and I want to have a little fun. I want to hold on to what we've got, from sea to shining sea. I'm afraid, my friend, the fight is past. Down to you and me. Oh, down to you and me. We got politicians and bureaucrats all telling us what to do. And they don't seem at all concerned about what they put us through. They tax and spend like there's no end, throw it all away. Just keep in mind there'll come a time when nobody's left to pay. Oh, nobody's left to pay. There's people that wanna lock us up just to keep us away from harm. They want a police state to give us orders that they can get us unarmed. There's folks that say they know the truth. Well, they saw it on TV. We got some boys on Capitol Hill don't wanna have us free. No, they don't wanna have us free. Oh, I love to hear my Harley run. I like being free to live out my dreams, and I wanna have a little fun. I wanna hold on to what we've got, from sea to shining sea. I'm afraid, my friends, the fight is past. Down to you and me. Well, down to you and me. Down, down, down to you and me. Oh, down, down, down to you and me. Down, down, down. You and me. Down to you and me. Down, down, down to you and me.
Friends, we hope you enjoyed our video, Down to You and Me. You know, it's so important. We're delivering a message here. We're doing it with a little humor, certainly, but we're delivering a message that we think is so important. A lot of you out there have asked, well, what can you do for the shooting show? Well, here's what you can, in fact, do. Please get a pencil and a piece of paper. If you don't mind, call your local, primarily country, radio station, and please ask them to play our song, Down to You and Me. It's by me, Johnny Rowland. And to see, every time this thing goes on the air anywhere, it gets a little bit of publicity for our program, for what we're about. It gets our message out there. If you don't mind, if you can, you might give a call to Country Music Television in Nashville, and that number is area 615-871-5830. Again, area 615-871-5830, and ask them please to play our video, Down to You and Me, by yours truly. Also, another number you can call is the Nashville Network, and that number is area 615-883-7000. Again, 615 area 883-7000, and please ask them to play our video, Down to You and Me. As I said earlier, every time this thing airs anywhere at all in the country, it helps our project, it helps our program. It is so important what we need as a message, as shooters, as really patriotic Americans, to get out there to the rest of us. You know, folks, most of us in this country are right-thinking, patriotic Americans, but we're made to feel isolated. Well, this is one way that we can get our message out there, and certainly to help our project. If you would like to have a copy of our video, we'll be happy to send you one for $17.95. And if you'd like a copy of our cassette tape that has 10 of my songs on there, including our new one, Down to You and Me, send us $9.95. We'll send you a cassette. Again, that video is $17.95. The cassette tape with my songs is $9.95. We'll be happy to send them to you. Send us a check or money order, please. Our address is, of course, The Shootin' Show, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. The zip code is 71104. We appreciate everyone who has called us, who has written us since we started running the video. Again, it is so important that we reach out to those other people around the country. See, through radio and through the video media means, through the different networks, we can reach into areas that we don't already get with the Shootin' Show. We can reach more people. More people are going to be talking about what we do, and it is expensive doing our project, our program. It is extremely expensive. A lot of the things that we have, the guns that we get, well, most of the manufacturers don't send those to us. We have to get those on our own. We have to borrow them or buy them or whatever else. So anything you can do to help us, we sincerely, and we appreciate it so much, we need your help. So if you don't mind making those calls, friends, please do, because the time is right.
Hi, I'm Bill McIntyre with an update from Capitol Hill here at National Rifle Association headquarters in Washington, D.C. There's a new poll out conducted by pollster Lou Harris. The poll is mostly compelling for what it left out rather than what it reported. For example, there was a great deal of attention focused on how 52% of those responding favored a handgun ban. But the Harris poll failed to emphasize that 67% of respondents said they probably would not, or definitely would not, turn in their handguns if such a ban occurred. That kind of result is indicative of the inherent flaws built into the Harris poll. For example, the poll showed NRA membership to be dwindling. The reality is that NRA has signed up more than 600,000 new members in the last year and a half, bringing our total roll call to a record 3.1 million members. Additionally, the poll asked if respondents favored the so-called Brady Bill and described it as a 7-day waiting period. The Brady Bill is not a 7-day waiting period, and it hasn't been for 2 years. And you and I both know quite well that the current Brady Bill is a 5-day interim waiting period, which sunsets and switches to an instant check system with provisions to upgrade and automate criminal history records. Both of these are trademark NRA reforms. The fact is, the Harris poll keeps people in a box and only lets them respond to questions about firearms. And of course, their responses will reflect bias in a one-sided line of questioning. If you let Americans express their opinions, they will quickly point to the root causes of violence in America, namely disintegrating values and a catch-and-release criminal justice system. When you ask what should be done to reduce violent crime, most Americans believe that fixing the bankrupt criminal justice system is the best place to start. Things like tougher sentencing, easing gridlock courtrooms, prison expansion where necessary, and tougher parole standards, especially for habitual violent criminals. The Harris poll is really a sideshow distracting from a probe of meaningful solutions to violent crime. I'm Bill McIntyre, and I'll be back next week with another update from the NRA.
Friends, don't go away. The Shootin' Show will be right back after this 1-minute break for your local cable company or TV station. And now, friends, we're pleased to present our good friend, Art Alphin, with the great A-Square Company. That A-Square Company is at 1 Industrial Park, Bedford, Kentucky. That zip code is 40006. Their phone number is area 502-255-7456. And, of course, A-Square builds some of the finest high-powered rifles and ammunition in the world. Today, Art's going to talk about the M1 Garand rifle. And, of course, since Art is a retired West Point instructor, he knows from hence he speaks. A lot of M1s are coming back in the country now as surplus, and some of them are in really good condition. A lot of shooters are buying them. They're a very popular semi-automatic rifle, and we thought you'd find this interesting featured on the show today.
The idea of using the forces released upon discharge of a weapon in order to cycle that weapon dates from the 1880s. You have been exposed to some of the major designers, such as Maxim and Browning, and to one of the two basic systems, recoil operation. Using these ideas in the infantryman's rifle was either beyond design capability or entailed a heavier weapon than most nations were willing to tolerate. Consequently, on the eve of World War II, all nations but one were equipped with basically the same rifle they had used to fight World War I. Like this British Lee Enfield, or this German 98K, there was basically no change. They were bolt-action magazine rifles that were loaded using stripper clips. I said this was true in all nations but one. That one was the United States. Development of a semi-automatic rifle had been receiving attention in the United States since World War I. The Browning automatic rifle was originally intended as an individual's weapon. After the war, Colonel Thompson, the inventor of the Thompson submachine gun, also fielded a design for a semi-automatic rifle. His design was complicated, had a very long receiver, was not very robust, and not really satisfactory for an individual semi-automatic rifle. Pedersen, the designer of the Pedersen device of World War I fame, also designed a semi-automatic rifle. He used the toggle action very similar to the Luger pistol for his rifle. Though much closer to what the Army was looking for, the Pedersen was, for a number of reasons, also not satisfactory. John Garand, a designer at Springfield Armory, stepped into this arena in the early 1930s. By 1936, he had combined a few ideas of his own with some basic ideas from Pedersen and with the Browning gas operation system. The result was a rifle that, even though the Army designated it the M1, would forever be known as the Garand. The rifle used a gas operation system. Here's how it works. After the powder begins to burn, it generates gas at extremely high pressure and propels the bullet down the barrel. As the base of the bullet passes a gas port, a small amount of gas exits the port. This gas goes into a cylinder mounted underneath the barrel, where it further expands, pressing on a piston which rides in the cylinder. This piston is machined onto the end of the operating rod. The operating rod's other end has a cam follower slot cut in it, and this fits over a corresponding cam projection on the side of the bolt. The first fraction of an inch of movement of the operating rod allows for the time it takes for the bullet to exit the muzzle and gas pressure in the barrel to drop. The cam follower then strikes the cam at an angle, driving the cam up and unlocking the bolt. It then carries the bolt all the way to the rear, which extracts and ejects the old cartridge case. At this point, the energy in the operating rod has been spent in opening the bolt and compressing the operating rod spring. The spring now takes over, driving the bolt and the operating rod forward. The bolt picks up the next cartridge, feeds it into the chamber, and as the cam follower pushes the cam downwards, the bolt locks and the rifle is ready to fire again. This entire operation takes about 1/10 of a second. The Garand feeds from an 8-round N-block clip. It is descended from the Mannlicher N-block clip of the 1880s. In the Garand, the N-block clip is staggered double column, but still works exactly as Mannlicher intended. The rifle provides the magazine follower and follower spring, which pushes the cartridges upward so that the bolt can get to them. The N-block clip provides the feed lips, which hold the cartridges in alignment so that the bolt can push them into the chamber. After firing the last shot, the weapon begins to cycle normally. As the last cartridge is ejected, the magazine follower also ejects the now empty N-block clip. The follower rises to the limit of its travel, tripping a lever and locking the bolt to the rear. The soldier then takes his next 8-round N-block clip and presses it down into the rifle from above. When the clip locks into position, the bolt is released, chambering the first cartridge, and the rifle is now ready to fire again. This weapon obviously has some great advantages over a bolt-action rifle. Let's take a look at the Garand firing against a bolt action. The bolt will have 2 targets each at 80, 185, and 330 yards, while the Garand will have 3 targets each at those ranges. The winner of the race will fire on a stationary target at 680 yards. Perhaps that wasn't very suspenseful. On the chart, it looks like this. The combat range is exactly the same. This is because both the bolt action and the M1 Garand fire a full power rifle cartridge. The volume of fire for the Garand is quite obviously greater by more than a factor of 2. But the differences between the 2 rifles are a good bit more than what you see. It is the placing of the face and hand back on the stock, what some people call a stock weld, and reacquiring the sight picture that takes the time with the bolt action. In fact, it takes more time than the actual working of the bolt itself. The great advantage of the M1 Garand is that for the 2nd through the 8th shot, you do not have to do this. Reacquisition of the sight picture is extremely simple and fast. This is what gives the M1 Garand its higher volume of fire. Any fool can fan his finger inside the trigger guard and rip out 8 rounds in a couple of seconds. This is not effective fire. When we say 32 rounds a minute for the Garand, we mean a well-trained shooter using a sling to help stabilize the weapon in recoil and using a stable position, prone or sitting, and putting every bullet where he wants it to go. At the longer ranges, the M1 Garand is just as accurate as any bolt-action rifle. At first glance, the Garand's aperture sight does not appear to be adjustable for range. This is not true. The elevation knob on the Garand rear sight serves double duty as a ballistic range drum. After the weapon is zeroed for the individual shooter, the drum is loosened and re-indexed so that the battle sight arrow is pointing to the 0 mark. Whenever the shooter wants to fire beyond his battle sight range, he estimates the range to the target and turns the elevation knob until the range, as printed on it, is lined up beside the 0 mark. The sights are now adjusted for that range, and the shooter can fire. The M1 Garand was certainly the best general-purpose battle rifle used in World War II. Given the scope of World War II, it is difficult to isolate an incident in which the Garand's superiority over a bolt action is clearly demonstrated. We originally intended that every rifleman be armed with an M1 Garand. This gave our squads a much higher volume of fire. After-action reports from numerous small unit leaders consistently cite this increased volume of fire as a major factor. There were, of course, some places where the M1 Garand probably should not have been issued and used. In this jungle, for example, a submachine gun might be better. In most areas, particularly in North Africa and throughout Europe, the Garand was just the ticket. It was, as General George S. Patton said, the greatest battle implement ever devised.
Friends, for the absolute best in monthly shooting magazines, turn to Shooting Times. They have all sorts of excellent features on handguns, rifles, shotguns, and black powder by some of your favorite gun writers, such as Dick Metcalf and Rick Jameson and Bill Jordan, just to name a few, also now including Mike Venturino. Each month you'll find interesting articles on guns, shooting, reloading, and new products in the firearms industry, that along with important information on pending legislation of interest to all gun owners. For subscription information, call 1-800-727-4353. Shooting Times, the best there is. The Shooting Show will be right back after this break for your local TV station or cable company.
Now, friends, one of the most important pieces of equipment that the shooting enthusiast can have is a timer. And this is the one of the very best to be found anywhere at any price. This is the Pro Timer 3 by Competition Electronics. And this particular model goes for about $249, but they have models starting that will essentially time your shooting and do it real well, starting down about $120, $129, something like that. We're going to tell you how to get one of these a little later, but what the timer will do is time the speed of your draw, the speed of your first shot, the speed between shots. It can do all sorts of things. These are really such neat machines. So every shooting enthusiast really, once you've used a timer for a while, you'll wonder how you ever got along without one. So this is, of course, the great Pro Timer 3 by Competition Electronics, and they're just excellent.
Now, friends, as I was saying earlier, once you use one of these Pro Timers, you'll wonder how you ever got along without it. But there are a couple of other products they also make, one of which is the Pro Chrono, which is a very fine chronograph, and it retails for $99.95. And it has a shooting area over twice as large as any comparably priced chronograph on the market. For information on the competition electronics products, call them at 1-800-222-3845. They're based in Rockford, Illinois. They're very fine people. We're very proud to be using their product on the Shootin' Show.
Now, friends, you see the Thunder 5 sitting next to our official Shootin' Show cap to give you an idea of just what size handgun it is. You'll see the large cartridge there on your left, and that is a 4570 rifle cartridge. And you'd say, well, what in the world? Well, it just so happens that the 4570 would fit in that long cylinder, and by the way, it will still shoot the 410 shotgun shell in the Thunder 5. So the 4570 version, which is new, our good friends down at Britton's have loaned us this gun for testing, and it is a most impressive handgun. We'll be talking more about that in just a moment. Now, friends, a few weeks ago on our program, we showed you a gun which was in fact a 45/410 revolver, and it was called the Thunder 5, and this is made by MIL Incorporated in Piney Flats, Tennessee. In fact, the marketing company is in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and we'll give you that address and phone number in just a few minutes. But this is another most unique revolver. It is in the 4570 cartridge or chambering, and of course the cylinder opens to the left. It has the latch out here underneath the barrel. It opens to the left, and you know, these guns are somewhat unusual in the way they look, and for that matter unusual in what they shoot, but they're extremely well made. They're not inexpensive. The good folks at Britton's have loaned us this gun for testing, and it retails for about $550, but it is certainly an unusual commodity. The trigger pull is good, the hammer action, everything works just like it's supposed to, and of course it holds this long 4570 cartridge. Now, as a lot of you know, the 4570 was an old black powder cartridge that was introduced back in the mid to latter 1800s, and it has been used in recent years in all sorts of different loadings and different combinations of guns, but this is the first knowledge, certainly of mine, that it's to be used in a handgun like this. This is definitely a different concept. Now, there are some 4570 specialty single-action revolvers out there, but this revolver is meant primarily for defensive use. And as I mentioned earlier, it will hold the 4570. It will also shoot the various 2.5 or 3-inch 410 shot shells. And of course, the barrel is rifled. It is 100% legal. But this chambering in 4570 will definitely give it some different applications. Now, the typical 4570 has a 405 grain bullet, and even in a lever action rifle, it's a fairly powerful loading. It's good for, say, black bear and other type game up within its usable range, which is up to say 100 yards or so. In the rifle, it doesn't move that fast. Of course, these can be hand loaded up to where they perform extremely well, but I don't think you'd want to do this in this revolver. Now, we chronographed this revolver a little earlier with the factory Remington loading 405 grain bullet, and it comes out of this revolver barrel at about 525 feet per second. And believe it or not, the recoil is really not that bad. It's about, probably about like shooting the 45 Colt in this particular gun. It is, it's not a lightweight, it's not real heavy, but it is a substantial gun. I was expecting the worst, of course, but the recoil is really not bad at all. And with this big old bullet, you know, 525 feet per second does not seem that fast, but the power factor, according to the formula for the USPSA for IPSC power factor on the steel targets, which is used to classify guns in the IPSC shooting sports. The power factor is still over 200, which is actually stronger than your average 45 ACP loading. So it's a great big bullet. It's not moving very fast, but I tell you what, it would be an effective defensive load. I don't know what the penetration would be. That's a good question. We'll have to pursue that at another time. And of course, as a snake gun, I said on the program earlier that these guns are without peer. You have literally a 5-shot shotgun in the Thunder 5, whether it's in the 45-70 chambering or in the 45/410. It will certainly do it. One of my favorite loads for this gun is the buckshot load that is available from American Derringer. It's made by Winchester. It is 3 triple-aught buckshot stacked behind each other in the shell, and this would give this little gun a total of, say 15 holes shooting that buckshot, because of 3 per shell, and of course you got 5 holes here. But another thing that makes this revolver unique, it has a safety. It has a safety that you pivot back and down for on, and you can see the little S here, and when it's in the fire position you'll see the red position here. But the hammer cannot contact the firing pin when that safety is on and in place. So this is an idea. We have them on semi-automatic pistols, and certainly it's not a bad idea on a revolver, because now you have so many new people or people that don't know much about guns that are starting to shoot and handle guns. So really a safety may not be a bad idea. It has a transfer bar ignition, which most of us have gotten used to in recent years on the various Ruger revolvers, and Colt has been using the transfer bar in a number of applications along with some other companies. And I tell you what, friends, it's just a unique package. Well, let's shoot our Thunder 5 and 45-70, and let's take a look at it. Now, friends, we've loaded our Thunder 5 and 45-70. I tell you, it's something seeing those long bullets go in that cylinder. But, of course, to take out the spent cases, the ejector rod does not come back very far, but it does come back far enough that you can pick the cases out with your fingernail. So let's see what I want to show you the lack of recoil in shooting the gun. We're up pretty close to this target, and really this is not a long-range gun. Now, I really don't know what the long-range accuracy capability of the gun is, but this is primarily a defensive gun, and I would imagine that most people are going to use this with a 410 shot shell or 410 buckshot in place. But just for curiosity, and because we'd all like to know, let's see what our up-close accuracy potential is with the 45-70. We're going to shoot the top ring on our target here, and watch the gun in my hands, and I think you're going to be surprised at the lack of recoil shooting a 405 grain bullet, or even though it's only moving 525 feet per second. I tell you what, I sure would want to stand in front of it. I think it would have some very definite defensive possibilities. So let's take a look, and we're going to shoot it double action, fairly rapid fire, and let's see what our group looks like. And you can see, of course, that was all shot double action. So let's take a look at our target. That's not a bad group, in fact. My friends, you can see the one large hole, but you can also see a lot of splatter on the target. And of course, what that is unburned powder particles. And always, let me remind you, we always use shooting glasses when shooting anything for that matter. But anytime you have a lot of unburned powder particles, like on this a 45-70 cartridge with that short barrel, you're really going to get some splatter. So this is another safety hint that we really need to be aware of. But I'll tell you what, friends, that's, I wasn't shooting that fast, but it wasn't that slow either, and that was all double action. I tell you what, if you could see, the recoil was really not that bad, and that's a large hole. I tell you what, it would certainly have some defensive capabilities that would be out of this world. So definitely something to think about. As I have said before, the evidence of machine work on the Thunder 5 is real good. It is really a most impressive handgun. And I tell you what, it's one that does not have, shall we say, as wide a capability of of doing things as some other guns, but what this gun does best, it does probably better than anything else. And that's, of course, I'm thinking of a close-range defense against snakes, or it really would make a good defensive handgun with the right loading. We encourage you to always wear eye protection. Of course, we always wear hearing protection on the range, but the Thunder 5 definitely have some application. So we're going to tell you how to get information on the Thunder 5, in fact, right now.
For information on the Thunder 5, write to Dragon Enterprises, Post Office Box 2222 in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. That zip code is 37133, or you can give them a call at 1-800-467-7375. You know, friends, as shooting enthusiasts, all of us need a subscription to Shotgun News, the trading post for anything that shoots. You can write to them at Shotgun News, Post Office Box 669, Hastings, Nebraska. That zip code is 68902. Their phone number is area 402-463-4589. With literally thousands of firearms bargains, 3 big issues monthly. For MasterCard or Visa subscriptions only now, call them at 1-800-345-6923. We do appreciate so much the support that Shotgun News has given and is giving to the Shootin' Show. They're very fine people. And speaking of support for the Shootin' Show, we need to tell you about the good folks down at Britton's at 517 Louisiana Avenue here in Shreveport. That zip code, of course, is 71101. If you're in the Arklatex area, whatever your shooting needs may be, from new or used guns to ammunition to reloading supplies, they probably have it. If they don't have it, they can darn sure get it. That phone number is area 318-221-4131. Now, they've also opened another location in Shreveport on Hollywood, so it gives them a total of 2 stores now. Britton's, very fine folks, good friends, good supporters of the Shootin' Show. Friends, please remember, if you don't mind, call your local radio station and ask them to play our new song, Down to You and Me, by yours truly, Johnny Rowland. It's on the Tennessee Star Tracks. It's their CD called Sizzling Summer Singles 2. Of course, you can write to us at the Shootin' Show, 554 Kings Highway, Shreveport, Louisiana. Our zip code 71104. We're charging $17.95 for the video of Down to You and Me, $9.95 for our music tape with 10 songs. Our phone number is area 318-222-8515. We hope that everyone has enjoyed the Shootin' Show as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Look forward to seeing you again next week with another Shootin' Show.